Jenny, it has been a pleasure to meet you and also to just have dinner with you. Maybe I'm taking this video because I am sharing the amazing story of Esther and your community. It's something that I want the world to know because people are struggling with girls' education. How can we support girls' education? But you have a story starting from your friend Lisa. But what I just want to know who you are, how you came to meet Esther, and then what were the most important things that you did together. Maybe you can pour your heart out.
Sure, I'd be glad to share that. Esther has been a gift to my family, to my husband, to me, to my children, to my parents. We met Esther through Lisa and her husband Peter. We are very good friends of theirs, and when they told us they were bringing Esther to America, we were just astounded and amazed on the one hand, but then not, because they're such generous people. But her story was so interesting and compelling, and when we first met Esther, we had her to our house for dinner, and I remember that my husband asked Esther, what did you find interesting when you first came to America? And she was very thoughtful, and she said to us, the infrastructure was the most impressive thing to me. And that the infrastructure of our country, meaning the roads, the phone system, the water, all these things we take for granted, because when we get up in the morning, we can turn on hot water, we can make a telephone call, we can leave our house and go to work on a smooth road. And it was fascinating to us that through Esther's eyes, we were able to appreciate things that we take for granted. One of the most fun times that I think Esther and I had was a day that we spent early when she had come here, and she was going to go to college, and we were very excited for her, and we knew that in college she would have the opportunity to do some important things because she was going to be meeting with the president of the college, and I thought she needed some clothes that were maybe more businesslike, so I was able to help her go shopping, and that was fun. But more than shopping was the discussions that we had about her, what she expected to find when she got to college and what her goals would be, and I loved hearing her openness and acceptance and amazement at everything she was seeing, but her quiet sense of understanding that this new adventure that she was on was a positive thing and a gift that we were so lucky to be part of. So I've learned a lot from Esther through her eyes, and I'm impressed by how hard she's worked in school. Another lesson that Esther, I think, learned from us was that she learned that working hard all the time and not succeeding happens. Sometimes you put as much into it as possible, and you don't get the A. Maybe you get a B. And Esther learned that that was okay, that she was still strong and she still had a lot to give, and that life goes on even if you don't get all A's. And that was a big lesson for her, and one that was important for her to have resilience in the rest of her academic career.
Maybe being a girl who is living here, what were some of like your worst fears that would come? Fears? Maybe as a mom.
As a mom, my fears for Esther, or my fears just
for Esther.
For Esther. Well, I think, I worry, Esther has good judgment, but I worry that she won't speak up, that she won't speak her mind, that she's so smart, she'll listen, but I hope she always is courageous enough to speak up. And even when you're worried that by speaking up you may lose friends, or you may be in the minority, because in this country we value everyone's voice, but that doesn't mean that everyone's voice is celebrated at the time it's being spoken. Sometimes it takes a while for the voices to be appreciated, but I think for Esther, for her to be true to herself and to be courageous to speak her mind make an observation, ask a question, and not to just accept and be quiet, but to use her voice would be my hope for her. And my fear would be that she might get taken advantage of, or people might take her for granted if they don't hear her mind being spoken.
Yes, and then let's go to simple ways, people to people, helping each other. You just saw this young girl and you felt shopping for her would bring her dignified dressing, would actually help her. These are simple acts of kindness. Let's go to talk about them, because people think you only act when you are in an organization. But here I've got an example of you and Lisa as individuals. So let's look at what individuals can do.
Well, here's another thing. I knew that Esther hadn't grown up with a mother who taught her to cook. And it was Christmas time, and as a child, I always liked to make my Christmas gifts. So I didn't have money when I was a child. I knew Esther didn't have access to a lot of money, and I thought, well, wouldn't it be wonderful if Esther could learn to make a few things to have gifts when she went to people's homes for the holidays, that it would help her have self-respect if she brought a gift, because she would probably be receiving gifts. And so one of the things we did together, which was fun, was we used my grandmother's recipe to make a Christmas sauce, which is made traditionally out of a berry called a cranberry, which is a red berry that's kind of tart. And if you mix it with apples at Christmas time with cinnamon, it's just a nice holiday gift. And so we made that together so that she would have a sauce and a gift, something to wrap in a ribbon and put in a basket and bring to friends at the holidays. And that was something that maybe I got more out of it than she did, but I felt that sharing my family tradition with her and helping her have a gift to bring would make her feel more comfortable. And it would also be a way to teach her how to work in the kitchen, which she didn't have a lot of experience doing. And I know then that Lisa helped her to learn to cook a lot, and she's now a great cook. So
now let's go into the future aspirations of what you do at the moment vis-a-vis this global challenge of girls' education that is there. There are thousands and thousands of girls who are not in school. What's your take on this, and what do you think can be done?
Well, this is a very difficult challenge. I think in America we don't have the difference. Our education is a challenge for boys and girls. It's not so much that girls are left behind, except in maybe math class and sciences, that where we see that boys are more given more of an opportunity than young women are. So here in America, what we've done is we've just put a lot more focus on ways to help girls in science and math. And we've done that by separating them from the boys in the classroom and having girls study with girls and feeling confident in an all-girl environment. I think, I'm not an educator, I'm not an expert in this, but my understanding is that is a good way for girls to feel powerful and feel confident and comfortable in working together and in working in teams, instead of competing one-on-one, solo, taking an exam, but really solving problems together. Women and girls are good at that, and those are skills that are important for the workplace too, so I think that should be encouraged. I'm very sad about other countries where women are denied education, but I personally don't have an answer for what can be done. I think those are often political, economic challenges that are far bigger than my experience.
And obviously you learned about the abducted girls in Nigeria, because we talked about it during dinner. What's your view on that as well?
Well, for me that was very frightening, to think that innocent girls whose families had entrusted them to a school so that they would have the opportunity to someday be independent and self-sufficient through their education. It was really frightening and disturbing to hear that they had been taken advantage of and taken away, if indeed that happened. And in my mind, that is something that the government should prevent, and that there should be swift action to correct that wrong and bring them back and find them and reunite them with their family, and that I don't necessarily think the school was at fault, but it makes me worried about security for any girls in a school environment, and I think that must be make the families fearful, and maybe more fearful to send them, which is really too bad, because those families were courageous and those girls were courageous, and they were, I think, doing the right thing by studying and attending school.
Thank you so much, Jane. Can you also tell our friends, our fans out there, your exact name and the organization you work for?
Sure.
And if you want, you can leave your website so that people can visit and learn more about your good work.
Sure. So the work I do is for the National Council of Nonprofits, which is a national organization here in the United States. And our role is to look out for the welfare of all charitable nonprofits in the United States. We don't do any work internationally. So we do policy work to help promote laws and regulations that allow charities to do their best work and advance their missions in the states that we have in the United States, and also at the federal level. And then we also coordinate a network of capacity building organizations around the country so that nonprofits have a resource in their state, in their region where they are, where they can get important information. And a lot of that information is on our website, and our website would be helpful for organizations, nonprofits that are seeking to understand how to operate in the United States for fundraising purposes, for best practices of governance and things like that. So that's the work I do, is to manage I'm all about networks and knowledge sharing and helping bring resources to nonprofit charitable organizations here in the United States.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for being a mom, a sister, a friend to Esther, on behalf of our charity, on behalf of our families back home. We thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice
Goodbye.
to meet you.